Get ready to take a wild ride through history with these weird, random, and downright hilarious facts that might just make you wish for a time machine. Dive into the bizarre world of ancient and not-so-ancient history as we uncover some of the most mind-blowing tidbits from the past. And guess what? There's even more where that came from. If quirky history facts are your jam, don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of oddities and drop a "I knew this already, buddy" in the comments below. Now let's get started on 10 of the weirdest random historical facts you won't believe. Number 10. People used to lock up their tea. Think you love tea? Stuart and Georgian Britain would have put your devotion to shame. Back then, tea was an ultra-luxury item imported from China, making it so pricey that only the wealthy could indulge. Its value was so high, in fact, that tea was kept under lock and key in specially designed tea caddies, and the mistress of the house often held the key herself. Forget letting the servants brew a cuppa. Tea preparation was an event, handled only by the trusted lady of the household. The thought of locking up today's Yorkshire gold might seem laughable, but back then, it was no joke. Would you trust anyone with your tea stash, or is it time to invest in a padlock for those prized tea bags? Let us know. Number 9, Napoleon wasn't that short. If there's one thing everyone thinks they know about Napoleon, it's that he was short. But here's the twist, he wasn't. Standing at around 5'6", Napoleon was actually average height for a man in his era. The myth of his shortness likely stems from British propaganda, which loved to depict him as tiny and powerless to undermine his authority. Adding fuel to the fire, Napoleon surrounded himself with exceptionally tall soldiers in his imperial guard, which may have made him seem smaller by comparison. So the next time someone references Napoleon's little man syndrome, you can set the record straight. Number 7. Britain once banned Christmas. Can you imagine anything worse than canceling Christmas? Well, that's exactly what happened in Britain between 1644 and 1660. Oliver Cromwell, the Lord Protector and strict Puritan, banned Christmas celebrations, claiming they were sinful and displeased God. Under Puritan beliefs, anything remotely fun, like dancing, music, or even makeup, was frowned upon. Unsurprisingly, this wasn't popular, and people rioted against the Christmas ban. But while the English were up in arms, the Scots didn't seem to mind as much. In fact, Christmas wasn't even a public holiday in Scotland from 1640 until 1958. Yes, that means your great-granddad might have spent December 25th at work, with barely a mince pie in sight. Number 6. More than one English king has died on the toilet. Talk about an embarrassing way to go. While we all dread the thought of someone walking in on us while we're using the bathroom, imagine dying there instead. It happened more than once to English royalty. The first was King Edmund in 1016, who met his end while on the loo and was stabbed to boot. Fast forward 200 years to 1216, and King John passed away on or near his toilet, likely from dysentery. In 1760, King George II also met his maker while seated on the porcelain throne. And let's not forget King Henry III in 1135, who likely caused himself some toilet trouble after overindulging in lamprey, a type of river eel. If you're curious, there's even a Wikipedia page dedicated to the deaths of historical figures in toilets. It's a unique, if somewhat uncomfortable, piece of history. Number 5. A pope once declared a war on cats. It's hard to imagine hating cats to the extreme of Pope Gregory IX, but in the 13th century, that's exactly what happened. Between 1233 and 1234, Gregory, wielding immense power as the head of the Catholic Church, declared that cats were agents of Satan and ordered their mass destruction. This strange decree led to the killing of thousands of cats, and the consequences were dire. With fewer cats around to keep rat populations in check, the rats flourished, and it's widely believed that this contributed to the spread of the plague. So not only did Gregory's actions wreak havoc on the cat population, but they likely helped to set the stage for one of history's deadliest pandemics. Great job, Gregory! Number 4. A Roman emperor once declared a war on the sea. Caligula's reign as emperor of Rome was filled with bizarre and often brutal decisions, And one of the most ridiculous stories involves his declared war on Neptune, the god of the sea. After a failed invasion of Britain, Caligula was desperate to save face and avoid returning home empty-handed. So he turned his frustration toward Neptune, ordering his soldiers to march to the shore, fight the waves, and collect seashells as trophies of victory. Whether this story is entirely true or an exaggeration, it's clear that it highlights Caligula's eccentricity and the chaotic nature of his rule. It's just one more example of the emperor's odd behavior that has earned him a reputation for being one of history's most unpredictable leaders. Number 3. George Washington didn't have wooden teeth. The myth that George Washington had wooden teeth has persisted for centuries, but the reality is far stranger. Washington did indeed have a set of dentures, but they were not made of wood. His false teeth were crafted from ivory, and they also included teeth extracted from humans, some of which were from enslaved individuals. The fact that some of his dentures were made with the teeth of others raises ethical concerns, and it's definitely unsettling to think about the origins of those teeth. It's not exactly something most people would willingly put in their mouths today. Number 2. Harriet Tubman used to carry chickens as a precaution. Harriet Tubman's cleverness and resourcefulness were key to her success as an Underground Railroad conductor. Carrying chickens with her was a brilliant tactic. When she needed to avoid suspicion from slave owners, she would release the chickens and recapture them, creating a diversion and drawing attention away from her movements. Tubman also used the strategy of pretending to read a newspaper, which was a clever way to blend in, as many enslaved people were denied the ability to read and write. These strategies show just how creative and strategic Tubman had to be to navigate the dangers of her mission and help others escape to freedom. Number 1. The Taj Mahal was once disguised as a pile of wood. The story of the Taj Mahal being covered in bamboo during World War II is a fascinating example of ingenuity during a time of war. To protect the iconic monument from potential bombing raids, India cleverly camouflaged the Taj Mahal with a thick cover of bamboo. This made the monument appear as a stockpile of bamboo, which likely would not have been a target for bombers. The strategy was successful, and the Taj Mahal survived the war undamaged, preserving one of the world's most famous architectural wonders. This clever act of protection reflects the lengths people will go to preserve cultural heritage in times of conflict. And that'll do it for today's video on 10 of the weirdest random historical facts you won't believe. If you enjoyed our video, why not hit that pesky little subscribe button to stay in the loop on future uploads? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.